Good morning. My name is Mike Hester, and I'm the Riverside County District Attorney. Welcome. I want to do a couple of things today. First thing I want to do is introduce the individuals that are here on stage with me. First off, to my far left, we have Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. We have San Bernardino County Sheriff Sergeant Nicholas Clark. We have San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes.
Morning.
We have Assistant District Attorney Brandon Smith, and then myself. So someone who's not here, I want to thank as well, or introduce as well, Jason Anderson, San Bernardino County District Attorney. I want to start by thanking these gentlemen up here. I want to thank the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office for their professionalism and their cooperation and the great work that they've done here so far. I want to thank Jason Anderson and the San Bernardino DA's office. His Bureau of Investigation has recently formed a high-tech crimes unit. They were instrumental in helping us with this investigation. Let me tell you how things are going to go today. There's going to be several individuals that make statements up here, and then when we're all done with the short statements, I will come back up and we will have a question and answer. I will take questions. I will take all of your questions till there are no more questions. Having said that, there's a lot that we can't say, that I can't say, that nobody up here can say. And the reason is that the defendants in this case have been charged with crimes, serious crimes, and so now they have a presumption of innocence that applies to them. They're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not allowed to prove my case in the court of public opinion, and so there's a lot that we can't say in terms of the facts and the evidence. For that, you will have to come to the court and to the various hearings and see how the case plays out. However, having said that, it's appropriate to have a press conference because it was the defendants in this case that had a press conference first. And they did so in order to tell the public, the media, and ultimately law enforcement that their child had been kidnapped, when in fact that's not what occurred. And so we're here to clear up some misconceptions and to explain how this case unfolded in terms of the investigation. It involves two counties working very well together. I know everybody up here on this stage, we work well together normally, but in this case, I'm very proud of the work that was done by Riverside County Sheriff, San Bernardino County Sheriff, my office, and also the District Attorney's Office in San Bernardino County. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick this off. I'm going to bring up first San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes.
Thank you, Mike. To Mike's point, I want to thank all of you in the media for covering this, specifically the parents' initial statements to the public while we were trying to find Emmanuel. They became critical as we continued through this investigation. But I want to talk about a little bit about the process because we've seen a number of questions related to Amber Alerts and things like that. So I hope when I finish this that everybody understand kind of the course of the investigation. But the investigation started for us on August 14th. When Rebecca Haro reported that her son had been kidnapped. Folks, within 24 hours through video surveillance, we found inconsistencies in Rebecca's statement, and as a result of that, there was no other vehicle to put out on an Amber Alert or anything, and I know many of you were wondering why that didn't occur. But really, after finding out those inconsistencies in the statement on the initial report, that's where hundreds of hours of investigations have come in by our Specialized Investigations Division to try to get to the bottom of what's really going on here. And when I say hundreds of hours, I'm talking about forensic data on vehicles, phones, and potential crime scenes, judicial authorized search warrants that were served. And through that process, that's where we learned that the jurisdiction of where this has occurred was in Riverside County. So hence the Riverside County DA and Riverside County Sheriff's Department, which I can't stress enough. We've had a long-term partnership. We work well together, and we know how to get things done in these environments. But that's why the jurisdiction had changed from the original jurisdiction that was reported in, which is Yucaipa, California. But as we went through that, portion of the investigation and realized that these things had happened in Riverside County, you saw the culmination of all the different entities get involved. And going back to what Mike mentioned about the DA's office in San Bernardino County and high-tech crimes, forensically, there are a number of things that we were able to prove up that we're not going to be able to share today exactly how we did that, but there is a tremendous amount of evidence that suggests that the initial story posed was not the correct story. So in that partnership with our agencies, I'm going to introduce my partner, Chad Bianco, where this crossover occurred at Riverside, and we reached out to Mike, who's obviously filing the case, and of course Chad to assist us in the investigation. Chad?
Thank you. Like Sheriff Dicus, I just want to thank all of you for, especially the normal mainstream media, for your attention to this and for your cooperation in this as we were assisting San Bernardino in this investigation, trying to originally find a missing baby, but then eventually quickly learning that that investigation was not something that it started as. Not so much for social media and keyboard warriors who, quite honestly, sometimes hamper and prevent us from a good investigation. I do want to expand a little bit about our relationship with San Bernardino. A lot from the media, a lot of questions have been raised about jurisdiction. And what Sheriff Dicus and I routinely talk about to our own communities isn't really necessarily displayed in the media or said to the media, but neither one of us care about jurisdiction. Our belief is that the Inland Empire is better served when we are cooperating and working together. And in this investigation from the very beginning, it was obvious that it could involve both counties. When something like that happens, particularly in this case, the original investigation began with Sheriff Dicus, and if he chooses to take it to the end, he will, which obviously he did. And my position is Sheriff Dicus is responsible for this and the assistance of my department. So there is no asking us, there is no anything like that. It is, we have to serve our public best, and he has every single available resource that the Riverside County Sheriff's Office has to offer to make sure that we provide justice in this case. This is an extensive investigation with both agencies that ultimately is headed by the supervisor of the Detective Bureau from the Sheriff's Office in San Bernardino. But the cooperation, as you can see, between the both counties is what is going to bring this to a successful conclusion. There is absolutely nothing, no crime more important than the injury of a human being, particularly a child. And the amount of resources that were expended to find this baby and to ultimately bring the people to justice responsible for the loss of this baby, I can't even tell you the amount of resources that were expended in this. It is a massive investigation that will obviously be ongoing, and we appreciate your efforts. This involves a lot of things, though, from us, and hopefully there are more questions to be answered, but I'll end it by saying this before we get into more questions specifically about this case. This was preventable in numerous ways. The amount of response we have had from the public, the enormous anger that a child was not only originally thought to be kidnapped, but then presumably murdered, kind of warms my heart a little bit. That there is compassion still out there. There is care about other people. There is, people actually do care about other people. There is absolutely nothing worse than harming a baby. Broken bones, injuries, life-altering trauma. And had that case been successfully handled how it should have been, Emmanuel would still be with us today. So I thank you all for taking the time and the effort to make sure that the world sees this investigation, and we will successfully bring it to conclusion with the help of both DA's offices.
Thank you, Sheriff. I neglected to mention that Sergeant Nicholas Clark is the lead investigator on this case. So even though he's San Bernardino County, he will be functioning as the lead investigator on this case. which is ongoing. The investigation is ongoing, even though we have filed charges. And then Brandon Smith is going to be the lead prosecutor on the case, obviously Riverside County prosecutor. And with that, obviously, you all know, yesterday in court, we filed murder charges on both Jake and Rebecca Haro. We also filed filing of a false police report. And with that, I will take questions. I know you're going to have a lot of questions. I do want to lay some ground rules. The way we do it here is don't shout at me, no chaos, just raise your hand. I ask you to ask me one question at a time. I'll do my best to call on everybody. When we've gotten through everyone who has a question, then we can go back and ask more follow-ups, okay? So I'll start here on the front row. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Stephanie with CNN. My question is, first of all, do you have any idea where baby Emmanuel is at this point?
You know, yes, we have a pretty strong indication of where the remains of baby Emmanuel are. So that investigation is ongoing at this time. Yes, go ahead.
Matt Johnson, Court TV. What was the information that led to the initial search off the 60 in Moreno Valley?
Sheriff, you want to take that?
I'm not going to go into grave detail about that, but there is some level of cooperation with the suspects involved in this, and we're trying to locate that, and our job is to follow every lead. But for the rest of the room here, we have to understand what you're dealing with is an experienced child abuser that is aware of a previous case, that is aware of evidentiary things that we are certainly concerned with. So we're going to take every step to not only work with any suspect or witness involved in this, because at the end of the day, we have to bring a case to Mike and they have to charge it, and we have to make sure that every single thing, no matter what is told to us or what we discover in terms of evidence, is the right thing, and that we followed up extensively.
Okay, who's next? I'll go to you first and then to you. Go ahead.
DG Gracia with Fox 11 News. Do you believe you know how baby Emmanuel died or was killed, and is there anything you can share?
The filing in this case reflects our belief that baby Emmanuel was abused, a victim of child abuse over time, and that eventually, because of that abuse, he succumbed to those injuries. That's what we believe. Yes, sir.
Eddie with Action Eye News. I noticed on the arrest records and booking records that they do have Jake Haro as murder with malice and also another murder charge as well. Is there a second murderer, or can you explain why there's two
We-
on that booking?
We charged both Jake and Rebecca with murder. Who's next? Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
This is in reference to what Chad was talking about, but can you go into some detail about that case in 2023 and what happened there?
Sure.
And from my understanding, it was a suspended sentence.
Yes, I will. So in 2018, Jake Haro with his ex-wife, there's another child who they were prosecuted for child abuse as well, child neglect, cruelty. That child was also an infant, and that came to the courts, arrested in 2018, it came in to the courts in 2023. We had charged various felony crimes, child abuse, child cruelty, and our indication or what we wanted out of the case was prison. We believed it was a prison case and that Jake Haro should have gone to prison. Jake Haro pled straight up to the court, which sometimes reporters get this wrong, and you call it a plea bargain. Judges are not allowed to plea bargain. Defendants can plea bargain with the prosecutor, but when a defendant pleads up to the court, they plead to everything that they've been charged with, and they're essentially throwing themselves on the mercy of the court. In this case, a judge here in Riverside County, happened to have been a visiting judge from San Bernardino County, gave Mr. Haro a suspended sentence, which means, if I can translate for you what that is, it means that instead of sending him to prison, he chose to give him probation and suspend prison time sort of over his head, meaning that if he violated his probation, he would then go to prison. My prosecutor in the courtroom objected to that and said on the record, we object, we think it's a prison case, you should send him to prison. And the judge decided, as is the judge's right to do. In that case, he decided that Mr. Haro deserved an extra break and gave him probation and basically 180 days of work release, which ends up being like community service. I will say that it was an outrageous error in judgment by this judge. And I don't have any problem saying that. I'm not attacking the judge personally. That decision was absolutely outrageous. Mr. Haro should have been in prison at the time that this crime happened. And if that judge had done his job as he should have done, Emmanuel would be alive today. And that's a shame, and it's an outrage. And I hate to say that, but when our criminal justice system breaks down, I'm going to just call it like it is and tell you it broke down. It's not how it's supposed to work. The judge had obviously meant well. At the end of their sentence, he told Jake, I'm giving you a big break today, don't mess it up. But I want to point something out to you. I want to read to you the injuries. The child's name is Carolina. She is still alive today, but she is permanently bedridden. She has permanent damage, cerebral palsy, that is a result of long-term child abuse. I want to read to you the injuries that were presented in court to this judge at the time of that previous prosecution. Acute fracture of the posterior left rib, fifth rib, healing fractures of the posterior lateral 6th, 7th, and 10th through 12th ribs, healing fractures of the 6th and 9th through 12th ribs, partial bone fracture of the skull, brain hemorrhage, significant prevertebral soft tissue swelling of the neck, and a healing tibia fracture of the right leg. This is severe abuse for an infant. And so whatever you think of the criminal justice system and people need a break, someone who does that to a child belongs in prison, period. Next question.
Can you tell us a little bit about her background? She has prior convictions or child abuse cases against her?
Not to my knowledge, no. Yes.
For some experts that look at how Emmanuel eyes are and said that is one of the signs of shaky baby syndrome, do you believe that he has been responding the way he is in videos and does have the eye, I guess maybe the eye for lack of a better word? Do you believe that he was shaken before that surgery?
You know, I'm not gonna, I can't speculate. I'll repeat what I already said. We believe that Emmanuel was severely abused over a period of time, and that's the reason for the filing, the way it was, is that he was abused over a period of time. Both parents would have been aware of that abuse. I've already called on you, so I'm gonna exhaust, yes, sir.
Sir, forgive me. I'm Mendoza on the Tira. I've been working this case diligently. I have a two-part question.
No, one question, sir, one question.
Thank you. Did you say that you do know where the remains are? Can you
I didn't
tell
say
us-
that, sir.
I'm sorry, forgive me.
I didn't say I know where the remains are.
Can you tell us, in fact, a little bit more detail so that if you do know anything, so I can stop looking? Please? 'Cause
Um,
I'm in this every day. No disrespect, trust me, I understand who you are. But can you please, if you have information here where you know something, can you please, so I could get some rest?
Well, you should get some rest, sir.
Thank you.
You should get some rest. But no, I can't share with you anything.
That's fine.
Look, there are professionals that are looking for the remains of this child. If the public has any information, then we ask for their help. So we don't know exactly where the remains are. We have some ideas in terms of where we're gonna look and where we're gonna continue to investigate. Yes, sir, all the way in the back.
Please elaborate more on how you suspect that Emmanuel has been abused over a period of time.
No, I'm not gonna do that. That's unfortunately, I understand it's an obvious question, but I just can't go into it. Those are things that the evidence will be presented in court, and I'll have to wait till we do that. Who's next? Yes, sir.
Can you explain, I know they both have charges filed against them, but do you believe that Jake or Rebecca both were actively involved in abusing Emmanuel, or like was she just complicit in what he was doing, or the other way around? Can you explain any more of that?
All I can explain is what we have filed. We filed murder charges on both of them and making a false police report on both of them. So you can extrapolate that we believe that both of them are guilty, that we can prove it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for both the murder and the filing of the false police report. You know, how it breaks down as to who did what, that also has to wait for the trial. So let me go this way.
En español, Jaime García, de Olimpia.
Okay.
Procurador, básicamente, si nos puede hablar exactamente de este caso de 2023 que dice usted comenzó en 2018 y pudiera ser el eslabón que hubiera evitado en caso de que el juez hubiera dictaminado una sentencia diferente que este niño Emmanuel estuviera vivo. Gracias.
Pues ya dije lo que puedo decir, fue una tragedia increíble y no hubiera sucedido. El juez hizo un gran error y juzgó mal y el sistema se quebró ese día. Jueces, fiscales, defensores, todos tenemos un deber y tenemos que hacer nuestro deber en nuestro trabajo. Todo lo que puedo decir.
Pero básicamente no debió de haberle dado la libertad bajo palabra.
Claro que no. Le dio libertad condicional y esto fue un caso de prisión. Cuando uno hace daño así a un niño, debería ir a prisión. Eso es lo que dice la ley. La ley dice que la sentencia debe ser prisión por crímenes de este nivel de gravedad. Y en este caso le dio probation. Okay. Let me go to you. I haven't called on you yet.
Reporting on his mutation, there are certain rumors that Emmanuel hadn't been seen for days or even weeks prior to August 14th. Can you speak to that at all?
No, unfortunately I can't. That have to wait for the trial to come out. Yes, sir.
Jim Davidson with Key News Network. Given the history that Jake has been obviously charged with previous child abuse cases, has CPS been involved with Emmanuel throughout his life at all, or have they ever checked up on the parents?
To my knowledge, CPS has not been involved with Emmanuel. I don't believe there was any CPS involvement in this current case. Let me go. I've already called on you. So have I called on you already? No, go ahead, please.
Jillian Smucker with the PLA Pride News. We're hearing some reports of the confession made in jail regarding Jake Haro. Obviously, we're limited to what you can say, but is there any validity to some of those rumors, and what have you heard from the confessor in jail?
I can tell you that that's not true. It's there's no confession made in jail. I'll go back there and then I'll come back to you, Rob. Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Here at Haro KSQ News. Can you tell us how many kids Jake and Rebecca had were in their home at the time of the arrest? We know a 2-year-old was taken. We saw CPS.
Yeah.
Riverside Sheriff's Deputies taking CPS calls. How many kids did they have in their home?
Well, there's the 2-year-old and then baby Emmanuel. Yeah. Going back there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, Joy Benedict, KCAL News. My question is, how difficult is it going to be to try this case without finding baby Emmanuel?
You know, a no-body homicide is always difficult, but obviously with an infant, we know that baby Emmanuel didn't, leave on his own or is not, didn't leave town. Obviously, it's a little different when you're talking about an infant, but we have a lot of experience in this county, trying no-body homicides, and we're confident that we can gain convictions in this case. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us more about the search on Sunday? What led to that field and why that area?
Well, I think Sheriff Dyke has already explained that. He answered that question by saying there's been a level of cooperation with the defendants, so that's why they went to that area. But beyond that, that's all I can say. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think the obvious question is, what happened then? I mean, you did hear those reports, my coworker just asked about the jail confession. The authorities used a fake inmate to get information, and the father confessed that.
Well, see, that's not true. So I don't know where you, well, no. See, this is what happens when you've got all these folks out there online and these keyboard warriors. You get a lot of misinformation, and what you just said is not true. It's misinformation. So that's what I'll tell you did not happen.
Okay, but
Okay?
you can't say what, there's no information.
I can't talk about the facts of the case. Well, no, I'm giving you information about baby Emmanuel. I'm giving you information about the cases and the investigation, but what you just said did not happen. And so, it's not, I can't be responsible for when you guys get it wrong. Go ahead. I'm just not going to comment on that. We're looking for the remains. These investigation is continuing. We're hoping to find the remains of baby Emmanuel. Yeah, please, Sheriff.
This is to that and to the question before. A problem that we are having in this, basically even on the question that was asked 2 questions ago, is someone posts something on social media and then you all believe that it's true. I actually complimented the mainstream media because you've actually been reaching out to us for comment and actually been printing what we've told you. It hasn't been the sensationalism and the wants for clicks for social media. And that is doing nothing but harming this investigation. And when you form your opinion and come in here and ask questions like that, you're not serving the public in any way. The question way earlier, get some rest. There should be no one out there looking for baby Emmanuel except for us, because all you're going to do is complicate things in the future. And the one thing that I emphasize that I want to make it clear here, the reason this is happening relatively quickly and the reason why we got such a handle on this fast is I believe that the Inland Empire is served better by their 2 sheriff's offices than any place in the state. And this particular case doubled its efforts. So instead of having 4,500 people looking for baby Emmanuel, you had 9,000. And so how did we get all of this information? It's called investigation. And we have 2 entire departments doing nothing but sifting through evidence, searching for evidence, trying to figure out what happened, who was responsible, and how we're going to successfully prosecute it. And misinformation, lies, and purposeful misdirection is going to do nothing but harm this investigation. And I am begging all of you with cameras out here, don't be a part of it.
Okay. You wasted yours in English? I'll get back to you. No, I've already called on you. I'll go ahead. I started with you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And actually, it was for Sheriff Bianco. I just wanted to follow up with you because the way you were talking so impassioned about what should never happen is that injury to a child. How does this compare to other things that you've seen? You mentioned broken bones in children. You impact me by the way you said that. So I wanted to know how this impacted you.
So I have to, cops get a bad rap of being just heartless souls. I will tell you that most police officers are parents, either dads or moms. And there is nothing more traumatic for us to go through than an injury, a death, or harm to a child. Nothing. And there is absolutely nothing that we want more than to bring these investigations to a successful conclusion. And when we talk about why we're here in the first place, that we believe someone murdered baby Emmanuel, who should still be in prison, but we have this unbelievable love for criminals, believing that they're somehow victims, and now we're all traumatized by it. We were all in this room a couple of years ago when I had a deputy murdered because someone was out on the street that should have been life in prison, but a judge let them go. We have an absolute breakdown of the justice system, and we are not preventing other children from being harmed when someone like Jake is allowed to be out on the streets harming children. And so the anger that I have, the frustration that I have, then combined with the misinformation and everything else, when for all of us and our employees, there is nothing more important to us than the death of a human, particularly a child.
Okay. I'm going to work the back. Yes, sir. Well, we've got a lot of evidence. We're going to have to play that out in court. I can't lay it out here today. Okay, so yes, right next to him.
Will we see the arrest warrant today, and why or why not? And also, I apologize, can you answer in Spanish as well?
I don't know if we're going to see the arrest warrant today, so that's a pretty short answer for Spanish. So, yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, and then I'll come back to you.
As far as the timeline, do you believe that baby Emmanuel was alive when the parents came forward to report them?
I just can't say. I'm not going to give a timeline. Obviously, baby Emmanuel, we have a theory as to when his death occurred. And then I've also shared that we believe that when the parents came forward, it was to tell the public something that wasn't true. Going which way? Go ahead.
Are relatives in this case cooperating? And if possible, can you tell us if they're shedding light?
There's a lot of witnesses. Investigators are tracking down every lead. I'm not going to focus in on who's a relative and who isn't. There's a lot of witnesses in the case that are shedding light. Yes, ma'am.
You said that you are the only people that should be looking for baby Emmanuel. What area are you focusing on, and what's the manpower behind that right now? You went out there saying you see anybody in the area that you've been searching for.
Right. So I'm not going to say, as Sheriff Bianco just mentioned, when you have members of the public that are out there doing their own searches, all it does is potentially prejudice and damage the case. So please, let the sheriff's departments do their job. They know how to do this, right? We're helping with them, anything they need from us, but they are the ones driving this investigation, and they will track down every lead. I have all the confidence in both of these great sheriffs and their great departments.
Are they out there today, is what I'm saying?
This investigation is ongoing, yes. Yes, ma'am.
In an effort to dispel all of that misinformation that we're seeing on social media, has a plea deal been offered to either Jake or Rebecca? Is that a possibility, and is this a death penalty case?
It's not a death penalty case. We did not and were not able to file special circumstances, and that's what would be required to be eligible for the death penalty. This is, we filed 2 counts of homicide, which in this case is murder, against both Jake and Rebecca. So not a death penalty case. What was the other?
Has a plea deal been offered
No.
to either one, and is that still a possibility?
No. No, we're not interested in a plea bargain with these individuals. We're interested in a trial and getting to justice. Yes, sir.
Where are we in terms of representation for these defendants?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not something that I have any knowledge of. Going back, yes, ma'am.
Is there a chance that you may not find baby Emmanuel's body if he's out in the wilderness or wild animals or things happen? Is there a chance you may not find his remains?
I think you just answered your own question. Of course, this is an investigation. We're searching for evidence. We've got 2 great sheriff's departments doing what they do best. So if there's a chance to find baby Emmanuel's remains, these men and women of these 2 agencies will do it. Yes, sir.
¿Nos podría dar una sinopsis de lo que estamos haciendo hoy día aquí, lo que está anunciando, y especialmente que me hable de por qué está convencido de que Manuel fue abusado por un largo tiempo?
Estamos aquí porque estamos acusando formalmente a Jake y Rebecca Haro de homicidio y de presentar un reporte falso a la policía. Los padres del bebé de 7 meses permanecen detenidos bajo una fianza de $1 millón. Más de eso no puedo comentar, porque no puedo hablar sobre la evidencia en el caso, porque eso tiene que suceder en un tribunal, en corte.
¿Puede hablar de que ustedes están convencidos de que Manuel fue abusado por un largo periodo de tiempo?
No puedo comentar. No, dije que sí, estamos convencidos que el bebé fue abusado por un periodo de tiempo, o sea, tiene 7 meses, o sea, sobre su vida de 7 meses, que fue abusado sobre tiempo. Yes, sir.
And just for clarification, maybe sheriff's department, not sheriff. There was a call for service that was generated by Jake that we investigated concerning a child abuse case. And that's all I can give you on that. And it was in Moreno Valley. No, not at this time. I think we've answered that already. If you are not getting information from his office or my office, you are doing our public an unbelievable disservice. We don't care what someone posts on social media, and if you all are going to believe that and then generate questions based on those comments, we're not going to get anywhere in this. If it did not come from our two agencies, stop believing it. That's all I can tell you.
Procurador, si me permite otra vez en español, y es, ¿cuáles son la razón por la que deciden acusar de homicidio a esta pareja? El cuerpo no se ha encontrado, ustedes conocen, pero ¿qué es lo que les lleva a acusar a estos padres de ser responsables de la muerte del bebé?
Son responsables de la muerte de su bebé por la evidencia que ya tenemos. Y es cierto que no tenemos el cuerpo del bebé, pero tenemos bastante evidencia y nosotros estamos convencidos que fueron responsables del homicidio de su hijo. All right, going forward, where am I? Did you have another question? Go ahead.
This is for Sheriff Chad Bianco. When you guys were on the 60 freeway in the Badlands area searching, we did notice that Jake was out there with the sheriff's department. Was Jake trying to cooperate at any time with the sheriffs during that search?
So we've answered that question, sir. That was Sheriff Dykes that answered that question of why they were out there. He said that there was some level of cooperation with the defendants, and that's all we can say. Yep, that's all we can say. Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel, because the baby was 7 months approximately when he died, born in December of 2024, do you feel that there are people that let this baby down? Not only that judge who let Jake Haro down, but we're talking about 7 months of child abuse or several months of child abuse. Do you think there are other people who failed this baby possibly by not reporting what they were seeing, what they thought was happening?
Well, certainly this baby was failed by his parents. So that's first and foremost. So yes, beyond that, I can't comment. But yes, everybody failed this baby that was close to him. Yes.
There's still some interest in town and some confusion on the public about what evidence factored into the charges being filed. I believe the Sheriff Dykes in the beginning mentioned the high-tech team in terms of the county. Maybe if you could help us understand a little bit what role that team played. There was also mention of search warrants, cars, and phones.
Yeah.
Technological. Is there some future factor into this?
So I can't comment on the evidence in this case, but what I can tell you is that modern homicide investigations are very tech-heavy. And we have two very modern, cutting-edge sheriff's departments in Riverside County and in San Bernardino County. And so, yes, what you mentioned was the high-tech crimes unit of the San Bernardino DA's office, their Bureau of Investigation. They assisted, and beyond that, I can't say what they found. That can't get into the evidence, but yeah, this case is going to be built on, like almost all homicide cases now, electronic, digital evidence. It all comes into play. Go ahead.
Did the family ever seek medical attention for baby Emmanuel since he was born to the day he was missing?
I can't comment on that. Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
What's next?
What's next is, first and foremost, the investigation will continue, and it's led by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, and then also Riverside County Sheriff's Department assisting, and then the prosecution will begin. We've filed the case. The case will begin to work its way through the criminal justice system here in Riverside County. Other folks? Yes, we're coming to the end here, I think. Go ahead.
The grandmother as well, may he be involved? Can we expect any more arrests, or are you looking at anybody else responsible?
Not at this time, no, we're not looking at anybody else. We believe that this is the filings in court that will be in this case. Now, that could change if new evidence comes in. Yes, sir. I'm not aware of a house fire next door. So, yes, sir.
The 2-year-old daughter that was taken by Child Protective Services on the scene, was there any signs of abuse, either cars or fire?
I'm not going to comment. Sorry, I can't talk about that. Anything else?
Sí, procurador, disculpe, en español. Las acusaciones ahorita son asesinato malicioso, doloso. En español, encontrar el cadáver y otra evidencia pudiera cambiar a que usted presentara cargos de asesinato con circunstancias especiales
Sí.
que acreditaran la pena de muerte para esta pareja?
Sí, podría cambiar si encontramos más evidencia y la situación cambia, los cargos pueden cambiar. Anything else? I think we're closing up here. Anybody have any last questions? Yes, go ahead. Do you know when? September 4th. The court day will be September 4th. All right, thank you all for coming.